If you're moving to North Idaho on a budget, I've got 2 cities that come to mind. Stick around, I'm gonna tell you all about them. Hey, if you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe button and tap the notifications bell so you can stay up to date on all of our latest content. Our team gets calls, texts, and emails every single day from people just like you trying to learn more about North Idaho. So if you guys are thinking about making the move right now or 12 months from now, give us a call, text, or email. We would love to get that conversation started. All right, 2 cities we're talking about today are gonna be Post Falls and Rathdrum. And I'm here in Post Falls right now on Spokane Street. There's a new food truck court, Eats on Spokane Street. I've talked about it in previous videos. I don't know if it was built yet though. This is one of my favorite places in Post Falls because the river's right over here, so the Spokane River runs through. You've got tons of great restaurants. We had the mayor of Post Falls, the new mayor, Randy Westland, on the podcast recently, and he talked about his desire to make this whole area into a very walkable community to rival downtown Coeur d'Alene, but not be so touristy. So that is in the works, and I'm very excited about it. Post Falls has a population of about 46,000 people, and it's a little bit more of a suburban feel than Rathdrum because you've got more commercial areas like up off Prairie and 41. We're going to head over there a little bit. And you've got a ton of housing options as well. So the whole Prairie area is being developed, somewhat unfortunately, but it's happening. It's not my fault, so don't yell at me about it. And that presents a lot of housing options for people. There's multifamily housing options. There are tons of apartment buildings over there as well. So that adds to that kind of suburban feel that Post Falls has right now. Median household income here is $73,000-ish. That may sound like a lot to you, it may not, I don't know. But keep that in mind as we check out Rathdrum as well, because it is a little bit different over there. All right, let's cruise a little bit of Post Falls, show you guys what it looks like, and I'll give you some more facts along the way. All right, we hit the downtown section of Post Falls on Spokane Street, one of my favorites. And then we took you guys through Millworx as well, which is a new walkable community right in Post Falls, which is very close to that downtown section. Millworx is pretty cool, and they've got more construction coming. They've got a nice bookstore there, and then lots of housing options, single family home, rentals, condos, all of that stuff. I think it's like 40 acres or something like that. So there's a lot going on there. Definitely an asset to the community. And then we cruise down Celtice Way, which we're still cruising on right now. Celtice cuts all the way through Post Falls and contains a lot of, businesses, commercial space, stuff like that, a couple of hotels. So that's kind of a major thoroughfare if you're in the Post Falls area. So it's good to know about it. While we're cruising, let's talk about home values. So Post Falls, typical home value is about $513,000. And the median sale price is about $522,000. And this is 2026, so keep that in mind. Rathdrum is a little bit different. We'll talk about that when we get up to Rathdrum, but those are the stats for Post Falls. And like I said, lots and lots of new construction going on here as we head up into the Prairie on the north side of 90. You guys will see that, and we'll touch on that area as well. But I would say more homes are being built in Post Falls than Rathdrum, so keep that in mind. And that may affect what we consider to be the best value moving forward. All right, we are in Post Falls still. We're in the Foxtail neighborhood. These are all Architectura homes. Architectura is one of the bigger builders up here, and they provide a very good value for the home that you're getting. So these are probably some of the more affordable homes here in Post Falls. Also want to talk about rent. So that is an option that kind of dictates the affordability aspect, I'd say, of a place if you're thinking about renting. Average rent in Post Falls is about $18.50 a month. Obviously that can go way up and that could go down a little bit. So depending on what you're looking for, keep that in mind. I was recently looking for a rental in Post Falls while we were building our house. And for a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, they were in the $3,000 to $3,500 a month range. So keep that in mind. This area we're like right on the edge of the Prairie. So heading north we'll touch on that and we'll show you guys that area as well. But that is a lot of open farmland that will unfortunately probably be developed in the future and will turn into this. The good news is they do a lot of green space as well, so it's not just homes packed in. There are always a lot of parks. They put schools in where needed and businesses and things like that. So it's not just huge tracts of land packed in with homes. Also want to talk about commute time. So that is a factor for a lot of people. So commute time from Post Falls to Coeur d'Alene's 10 to 15 minutes. It's very close. They border each other, so sometimes you can't tell when you cross in from one to the next. Commute time to Spokane's about 25 to 30 minutes, depending where you're at in Post Falls. And then Spokane International Airport's about 35 minutes from Post Falls to there. So if you're a frequent traveler, that is good information, and that might edge Post Falls above Rathdrum, because as you'll see when we get up to Rathdrum, it is a little bit farther from all of those places. So that might factor in, when you consider the two, if you're trying to hit the airport a lot and get there, or if you're trying to get into Coeur d'Alene a lot for work or activities or whatnot. All right, let's move on to the 41 corridor. We're going to hit Prairie and 41, where there's a lot of new construction going and a lot of big commercial new construction. And we'll check that area out on our way to Rathdrum. All right, we're talking about while we're driving up to the Prairie and 41 intersection, we're going to talk about a few things that might be on your mind, such as crime. All I got to say about that is it's North Idaho, crime's super low, pretty much anywhere you go. I know this for a fact because team members on our team and all of our friends are former law enforcement or current law enforcement. So that comes from a good source. There obviously is crime here in North Idaho. Property crime in the Post Falls side is probably going to be a little bit higher, and there's a reason for that. Post Falls sits right on the 90 corridor. So as people are coming from, say, Washington and looking to burglarize things, popping off the 90 to a neighborhood is easier than going into the woods and risking getting shot walking onto someone's property. So it's going to be a little bit higher here. It's still well below the national average, and it's pretty darn unlikely because there's a good chance they'll get shot in one of these neighborhoods as well. So we don't really worry about that as much. If you do have specific concerns, you're looking at a house, what we usually do is ask you to tell us the address, and we will run it by some people that we know and give you guys specific information on that street. Because, every street, not every street, some streets have that house that exists on it that may be a problem house, and the local cops are going to know about it. So that's the best place to go for that information. Another consideration in Post Falls, and this is a positive, is that it is better access to healthcare. Post Falls has its own hospital, and it is closer to Coeur d'Alene, so you have Kootenai Health there in Coeur d'Alene as well. So Post Falls is going to have more medical stuff, more doctors, more dentists. That's not to say they don't exist in Rathdrum, but you'll have more access to that here. Rathdrum is still not very far away. It's about 5 minutes north of where we're at right now, so they kind of blend into each other as well. But those are things people usually ask about. I usually get asked about schools also. I do not have a kid in either of these school districts, so I can't speak from personal experience. I usually point people to go to a website like niche.com, niche.com, and you can get information and reviews from parents that actually have their kids in those school systems. And that's the best way to get the information, not from me. All right, we are northbound on Highway 41, just getting into the southern edge of Rathdrum. It's still prairie out here in farmland. Like I mentioned before, unfortunately, this will probably all get developed at some point. But it is what it is. I don't have any control over that today. The population of Rathdrum is quite a bit smaller than Post Falls. So we're sitting in the mid 12,000s right now. And the median household income is actually a little bit higher. It's about 86,000, whereas Post Falls was in the low 70s. So kind of an interesting dynamic. And as you'll see, the property values up here are a little bit higher, which is surprising to people, especially if they grew up here, because Rathdrum used to have a bad reputation. I had a local person tell me when they were growing up that they used to call it rat dump. That sounds terrible. It is not a rat dump. It's actually pretty nice. the small town, you'll get up in there, or the downtown has some nice historic buildings, some great restaurants, Westwood Brewing Company being one of my faves. And the neighborhoods are fairly nice up here. There's a pretty good spread of types of neighborhoods and housing options here in Rathdrum. You're not going to find as many apartments, things like that. Post Falls has some huge apartment complexes. Hey, there's probably something up here, but I can't picture anything that big like you'd find in Post Falls. So let's head into downtown Rathdrum, check that out, and then we'll take you into a couple of different neighborhoods to show you what it looks like up there. Okay, we're cruising down the main drag in downtown Rathdrum. As you guys can see in the B-roll, it's some cool old brick buildings, some fantastic restaurants here, including Westwood Brewing Company, Cascadia Pizza, Nadine's is Mexican food up here, and people rave about it. So that's a good spot to check out. Rathdrum Police Department's right back there. Got a buddy that works there. Good spot. Let's talk about home values up here. So typical home value in Rathdrum is actually quite a bit higher than Post Falls. It's at $555, and the median sale price here is $500. I know that sounds weird because they're so different, but that's just the way. So the values are determined, by the assessor basically, and then the sale price is just the amount of new homes being sold. So just an interesting stat. And so average rent in Rathdrum is about $2,100 a month, and keep in mind that varies quite a bit when you go up and down in size. But I think that's due in part to the fact that there just aren't as many rentals up here. It is definitely easier to find a rental in Post Falls than here in Rathdrum. But as you can see while we're driving around, it is a very much different town, much smaller town. Eric, who you know from our team, my partner, has kids that go to the school district up here. And if you go to, say, a high school football game Friday night, it is a big deal in Rathdrum. There's thousands of people there tailgating, like good small town America, the way it should be. And that's a huge draw for a lot of people. So school district up here, I can attest to that based on Eric's advice, is that the Lakeland School District, which is the one that is included in Rathdrum, is a very good school district up here, still conservative, lots of great sports programs, and just, good small town vibe. So that might check the box for you. Keep in mind, we are still not that far from, you take Highway 41 down and you can hit 90 in probably 10 minutes because of traffic, but really it's not very far at all. And Rathdrum is actually quite a bit closer to Hayden, so you can just head due east and hit Hayden over that way, and then access Coeur from the north. So depending on where you work, depending on where all your activities are, it could be a better option for you based on that. Yes, it's going to take a little bit longer to get to Coeur than it would from Post Falls, but not that much longer overall. Okay, we are in Thayer Farms, which is in Rathdrum. These are all built by Monogram Homes, also a great builder up here. Sold a bunch of homes up in this area, and the quality is very good in my opinion. Price is a little higher than maybe you're looking for if we're looking for budget stuff, but I do like these because you can get RV garage options, there are shop options, so it's kind of cool. It's a good mixture of, living in a neighborhood, but still having space for all your toys and things like that. Thayer Farms is just one of many neighborhoods in Rathdrum, and you've got Radiant Lake, which is cool. It's built around a man-made lake, and then Brookshire, which is probably your more affordable option here in Rathdrum. But let's talk about crime a little bit. So as I mentioned, crime in Idaho overall is very low, so it's no different here really. We are a little bit of a smaller town, so it's probably it's definitely a little bit lower crime rate than Post Falls even, but both are still well below the national average. Commute times from here just tack on about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on what part of Rathdrum you are in, to the commute times for Post Falls. So still very close together. Like I said, Post Falls and Rathdrum border each other, as well as Coeur d'Alene and Hayden. So traveling between the four of them, really, sometimes it's hard to tell when you cross the border from one to the other because they're so close together. So I kind of look at it as one big area. The lifestyle in Rathdrum, like we talked about earlier, is going to be a little bit more of a small town feel than Post Falls. And that might appeal to you guys out there if you're looking for that place to raise your kid. That doesn't mean you can't find that in Post Falls. There's plenty of neighborhoods where it does have that feel to it. But Rathdrum overall, if the kids go to school here and you're doing things in downtown Rathdrum, it's going to feel like a small town, but you're still very close to everything. And I think that's a huge draw for a lot of people. Okay, we just cruised through the Brookshire neighborhood in Rathdrum. I need to correct myself because I was not sure about apartment complexes. I saw at least 2 large apartment complexes, so they do exist here. Shame on me for not knowing that. Brookshire is probably the most affordable neighborhood in Rathdrum for new construction, and there are multiple builders building here, including Hayden Homes. I can't remember the other ones, sorry, but they're here. If you have questions, send us an email. I'll straighten it out. Let me give you my final thoughts. So if you want my opinion, if you care at all about it, I think the best value, so if you're looking for the cheapest home value in North Idaho, say you're moving here and you want to find the best place to buy a home, and these both check your boxes, I think that Post Falls is going to be the better bet as far as finding a slightly more affordable homes, but they're fairly close. So I think it really will come down to, do you want the bigger city, more suburban feel, or do you want the small town feel? And that's what it will come down to, because they're fairly close on every other aspect. So that's your decision to make. If it's between those two, there are obviously plenty of other cities here in North Idaho. So keep that in mind. And maybe you have more questions than answers, and that's totally fine. You can reach out to us through text, call, email, whatever. Our contact info is all over our YouTube page. So easy to find. I would implore you to also check out our new home search app that is very useful for searching for homes in North Idaho. The beauty of it is that we can see on the back end what you guys are looking at, the homes that you heart or favorite. We can check those out as well, and you can message us through the app. So it's super useful. The link to that app will be in the show notes on this video. And then also check out our website, northidahoexperience.com. There are tons of great resources there for things like businesses, churches, schools. All of that stuff can be found on the website as well. So it's there if you need it. We want to be your resource for North Idaho, and I'd say we're pretty good at it. So please reach out to us. If you guys have more questions, shoot us a call, text, email, it doesn't matter. And, even if you're a year out, we prefer to get that conversation started early so we can guide you guys through that process, because really it's not about selling you a home. It's about making sure that North Idaho is a good fit for you. It's not a good fit for everybody. We tend to lean more conservative up this way, and that's the way we like it. So we don't want our lifestyle to change, if you know what I'm saying. So anyway, reach out if you have questions. We're here for you guys. Thank you for watching the video. Catch you on the next one.